Don't do this to me. No. Top of the day, beautiful people. I knew it. I knew I should have printed it out. Hold on, y'all. Oh, God. I might have to do this on my laptop. Top of the day, beautiful people. Let me see if I can just restart this. Y'all, we got to read it. We got to read it. Hold on. Hold on. See, my kids, I let them get on my iPad just for a little bit. Just for a little bit. Let me just restart it. And while I'm doing that, let me just go ahead and prepare this screen up here just in case I got to read from here. Y'all, I found enough little changes to warrant reading The Romance of the Red Star. I think we might have found it. Hold on. There was something that I downloaded that I want to read that I saw. It was printed in 1910 about this. Desktop. There you go. This is 8 pages. Go all the way to the last page. I wish I would have got the link. I'm going to have to share the link for this in a little bit. Hold on. Maybe I got it up. Hold on. Let me check something real quick. Oh, I got the site. Okay. I didn't close it last night. I want to show y'all something. Let me bring the screen over here because this iPad. Get this link for y'all real quick. Go ahead and open that up. Go to the last page. It's an 8-page document. I'm not sure if you can look at it while you're live, but if not, I'm gonna read it to you. It's just the little small little thing that I want to read out loud real quick. Let me post a link over here on Facebook. Home live. Before we get started. Hold on. Post. Okay. No. Yes. These changes. Okay. Here we go. I just want to post this link. Out real quick. I'll publish that. I wasn't really trying to do a separate post, but it is what it is. I wanted to put it on the live video, but I can't see my live video for some reason. Let me try it this way. Hold on one second, y'all. I just want to make sure y'all got the little link. Okay. All right, boom. Here we go. Okay. Let me minimize this back. Hold on, people. I'm gonna pull this together. We may or may not get to the field guide to the spirit world because I really want to read this. All right, minimize this. We'll bring this up. Hold on. Let me see. I know I saved it up here. Hold on, y'all. I was not expecting my iPad to be acting crazy. Oh, there we go. Ooh. Okay. All right, now let's get rid of this screen. Close this out. Keep this up. Okay. All right. So I got this together. I'm still trying to bring this back up because it's really easier to read it from here. All right, beautiful people. Happy Tuesday. It is January the 3rd, 2022, day 305 of year 4 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets. Another 4-year consecutive day count, day 1324. And today we're going to be reading Romance of the Red Star. But you know how you watch movies and at the beginning they show you like the ending clips and then it rewinds and go all the way back to the beginning? I think that's what we're gonna do. That's what we're gonna do, right? I was kind of skimming through this, and then I wasn't gonna go to the end of the book until Selah posted in the group chat the book of Cosmon found in the Romance of the Red Star. And so I started skimming over what he had posted. Then I went to open it up. And then I went to the end. And it's the very last book, right? But it's a part of the cycle of S, right? This is interesting. Hold on. Okay. Ooh. Hello? Hello? I said, who was calling me at 6 o'clock in the morning? It's probably my niece is up on their iPad, probably calling for the boys. Okay. Sorry, y'all. All right. Let's see if that'll open back up. So I don't have to read it from the laptop screen. All right, but this is quite interesting, beautiful people. All right, so let me say hey to everybody real quick. Make sure y'all got that link. All right, Jamia, hey girl, hey. Did you start reading any of this? Oh, it's gonna be so good. Avia, shalom, Vinay, greetings, sis. Ima, shalom, shalom. Zakar, Yahoo, shalom. Tabitha, hey girl, hey. Dawn, hey sis. Shebrew, all praise to the Creator. Ma, shalom. Hannah, shalom, shalom. Prince, shalom. Kendra, hey girl, hey. Lindsay, ya, shalom. Johnny James, every time I see that name, I think of my daddy. You just spell your name a little bit differently. He uses I-E, you use Y. But anyway, shalom, shalom. And everybody else here already hanging out in the background. Top of the day to you. This is going to be good. Ooh, did it open up? Okay. Oh, great. Okay, we'll see what this do. Okay, so this little link that I showed y'all, right? So right when I was skimming over Romance of the Red Star. So remember we first heard about this while we was reading through that Jim Denon letter, right? And also Celeste, they added that to that portion, that letter that they had wrote and they shared with us. They told us we could share it with everybody. We need everybody's input, right? They also mentioned this, but what I'm not sure is if anybody's ever actually taken the time to actually go look into this that they mentioned, right? Romance of the Red Star. So I started to get more interested in it. Then a young lady who is in China who watches me, Kenya, shalom, says she be hanging out in the background. She sent the link, she found it. And so that's what I got and I shared with everybody else. But you can also find it on Amazon. This I say we hot on the trail again. Now I'm not exactly sure if this is the original John Lant place, but based on some of the stuff Cosmon was reading through it, he said he gonna do a video. I'm super excited what he got to say when he do his live on this. So I started at the beginning a little bit, then I skipped to the back to finish up reading the section that that Selah had posted. I'm like, wait a minute, hold up. Even the ordering of everything is different. The cycles and stuff, it's not well, the names are the same, but they're different just a little bit. You can tell what it is if you're familiar with how Owaspy is currently laid out, right? But the order is really interesting, right? And it seems like there's like a better flow to things. And it seems like, okay, so I'm gonna read this to y'all so y'all can see exactly what I'm talking about. What we read here, the last book in here, they call it the Book of Cosmon. We read in what book is that with Lincoln, y'all? What book was that? Was it in the Book of S? Yes, it's in the Book of S, right? Okay, so after the Book of S, in OWASP, you have like the other books that kind of like they added onto it that follows like the Book of Judgment, Inspiration. Then you got the books in the appendix, right? So at least in my reading, right? So reading this, it's still, even though it's telling us like the time period of things, it's still kind of, there is still this disconnect. There's still this disconnect, so to speak, you know, with the current way that it's printed and the order that it is. But it seems like to me, like I said, as I was skimming, there's like a little bit better of a flow, and it ends like right at um where the Cosmon era begins. And so it would seem that even this is Cosmon, but the Cosmon, to me, if I understand this correctly, is within the cycle of S, so to speak, if that makes sense. And that's something that this uses to, whereas the current updated OWASPs, they just called it different books like Book of S, Book of Sathantes, but here it's called the cycle of Sathantes or the cycle of S, and so on and so forth, right? But you'll see what I'm talking about. So this is actually, you can find this in the Library of Congress, right? And they put it there. Well, I want to say, was it 19? The original copyright is 1910, right? Remember, John Lant passed away in January 1913. And Cosmon made a comment that John Lant, and I mentioned it yesterday, that John Lant, before he passed away, him and a few other people got together and formed a publishing company where they actually printed what John Lant had, right? And supposedly, allegedly, they renamed it The Romance of the Red Star. So if we're gonna see, we're gonna read through it. Like I said, I'm gonna read like the last couple chapters today, and then we're gonna do like the way movies do it, just so you can kind of like see the ending like right up front, and then we're gonna go back and we're gonna backtrack and we're gonna go through it, right? So we're gonna read, and I think I want to do it in like two phases. So we're gonna read like the last 2 or 3 chapters of the Book of Cosmon. And then when we come back the next day, I want to go back to the beginning of the Book of Cosmon, read it all the way through, and then go all the way back to the beginning. Right? So it's really interesting. Hold on. Okay, so that link that I gave y'all, right? There was an article that was written. Let me minimize this. There was an article that was written in, I think this was 1910, where they were advertising The Romance of the Red Star. And it's what they said under it that was kind of interesting to me. I think you might be right, Jamil. Jamil said John Lant probably saw the changes JBN made and was like, nah, son, right? Listen to this. Okay, so that link that I gave y'all, right? It's this newsletter. And at the end, at the very last page, page 8, it's almost like an advertising piece. There is one book that was up here that's called Just How to Wake the Solar Plexus. That's actually still in print. I actually ordered that last night, right? But that's not what I want to show you. But anyway, here, one of the little advertisements is the Romance of the Red Star. And so on page 8, on the right-hand side towards the middle, it says in a little block set aside for that particular advertisement of this book, it says, The Romance of the Red Star, a biography of the earth, the most wonderful book of the era, setting forth a new theory of the creation of worlds and the bringing forth thereon of man and the animal and vegetable kingdoms, showing how, when, and for what purpose this world was made, showing the foundation of all religions and dogmas, this age of the world being called the Cosmon era, in which man seems to have attained a spiritual and physical balance, not dry reading, not dry reading, but not dry reading, but interesting and instructing narrative. Listen, what is this? All thinking people should read this and glean therefrom hold on. All thinking people should read this book and glean therefrom hundreds of new ideas and suggestions, published by the Denver Fraternity of Emethakava, Denver, Colorado, 572 pages, magazine size, cloth bound, price $2.50. There was something in here. There was something else that I wanted to point. Maybe it was the other thing that I read. It said, there was something else that I wanted to bring out where this was saying that this was in its original. Hold on. I wonder if I just saw it in the beginning of this. Hold on, let me see. See this thing acting crazy. I gotta pull it up here. Okay, let's do it this way. Where did I read it at? Yeah, this was put in the Library of Congress, July the 9th, 1901. John Lant died in 1913. Where did I read that at? Oh man, there was something, because I found some new stuff about the publishing of this. I'm gonna have to look it up later, but it was saying that this was printed and it was left in its like original formation of when it was first received. Something like that. I got so much stuff open. I'm gonna have to come back to it. When I find it, I'm gonna share it with y'all. Okay. Great spirit, peace and blessing. Shalom. Ray. Hey girl, hey. Bronze Yogi. Shalom. Shalom. Okay, so let's open this up. The Romance of the Red Star. Open this. Okay. Let's scroll all the way to the bottom page. Go all the way to the last book, the Book of Cosmon, y'all. I guess I could jump to the page, but let's do it this way. It's 584 pages. I read it on Amazon. Okay, that's probably what it was then. Okay, I'm gonna pull it back up. I'm gonna pull that little snippet. Oh my gosh, where's my search? Hold on, let me do this. Hold on, let me blow it up. Trying to find my scroll bar, y'all. There we go. Sheesh. Okay. It would be page. Okay, The Dawn of Cosmine. It's on page 570 of the document, Romance of the Red Star. Let me try one more time, see if I can. All right. This is still taking a while to load. All right, so I'm going to just read it from here. Okay. This is chapter XVII, which is 15, 16, 17. Chapter 17 in Roman numerals, The Dawn of Cosmine. Hold on. First, Father, we thank you for new revelations every single day. Okay. The Dawn of Cosmon. Now whilst the holy council were still sitting in paradise, a light like a star came and stood above the throne of God, and the voice came out of the light, saying, Behold, the false gods are cast out and sent unto their places. Nevermore shall there be any other false god or Lord or Savior to lead my people away. I am sufficient unto my own creations. Let this, therefore, be the beginning of the Cosmon era. So shortly before this, like we read, like if you go back a couple pages, the thing that led up to this point right here was the freeing of the slaves in Guatemala during former President Lincoln's term, right? That right there set in place the beginning of the Cosmon era, right? Okay. Let this therefore be the beginning of the Cosmon era. My people have settled the whole earth around, from east to west. The lands on the western borders of Guatemala have become inhabited. Remember, Guatemala is the Americas. Go then, my son, and open the gates of heaven unto mortals. Let the angels meet them and talk with them face to face. This is what's supposed to be happening in the Cosmon era. Thank you for sharing the link, Jamil. Go then, my son, open the gates of heaven unto mortals. Let the angels meet them and talk with them face to face. Behold, my Etherian ambassadress, Shesavani Anathotes, cometh in a sea of fire, the ship of the Etherian goddess. Now, let me just say something, because something I was struggling with earlier on, and I asked the question a bunch of different times, and a few other people I noticed answered this question, but now this makes sense why she would kind of be one of the current ruling Chesavani Anathotes, why she would be kind of still ruling now, having something to do with what's going on now in this era. I just wasn't really connecting it, because when you read in the printed version, like a bit blue, you got this book of Oranothan, and then some of the comments down at the bottom, it's like, okay, well, this says that Oranothan is like the current ruling god or whatever, right? But then I think it was Iman that brought it out. And she said, well, she is probably a little bit higher raised, but they're still within this same cycle, right? So while a cycle has multiple generations, multiple years, multiple ruling gods for that cycle, but she is still a part of this cycle, which we're in as well, Cosmon era. So she's still active with what's going on with us today here in this era, right? But she's a little bit higher up while there's another current ruling god. I was like, okay, so with the order of this now, and not other books coming behind this, that makes a little bit more sense to me, right? So I'm like, oh, wait a minute, hold up, wait a minute. Okay. Behold, my Etherian ambassadress, Chesavani Anathotes, cometh in a sea of fire. The ship of the Etherian goddess was seen descending from the higher heavens, coming as an open ring to embrace the whole earth. Swifter and swifter came the Etherian archangels till all the heavens of paradise were encircled in the love of the Almighty. Then God called out the legions who had the matter in charge, where mortals had been born for the work of Jehovah's kingdom. And God said, Open the gates of heaven. Let the angels of Jehovah speak with mortals. The time of the Father's kingdom is at hand. Open the gates of heaven. Let the angels come forth in power. And then it goes on in chapter 18, chapter XVIII. Now, when God looked abroad over Guatemala, he saw 4 million people in bondage as slaves, and he saw that they must be liberated. And so God inquired. Okay, I kind of said it a little backwards. Is giving you the portion about Lincoln now. Now, when God looked abroad over Gautama, he saw 4 million people in bondage as slaves. And when he saw that they must be liberated. And so God inquired of the chief mathematician and the holy council, one Iraq, saying, who of all the kings of earth hath had the greatest number of slaves? And Iraq said, Xerxes, who dwelleth in Yopegah in Atmosphere. God said, send thou a heavenly ship for him and for 1,000,000,000 of his angels, and send also for Leonidas the Argosian for 1,000,000,000 of his angels. And when they are brought here, they shall descend to the earth to these barbarians and liberate their slaves. Iraq saluted and departed, giving his instructions to the heavenly marshals, who at once sent ships and messengers as directed. God then said, I will now recall the Ashars, who hold guard over these mortals, and for a season they shall dwell in Drusian darkness. And this was accomplished, and straightway a war ensued betwixt the owners of the slaves and the neighboring states. Then came the gods and angels high in the grades to witness the play of mortal death and to determine how best to win to liberty and to Jehovah the inhabitants of this great land, which we call today America. Everybody who was enslaved here during that time. And there rose up 2 million men in arms, pushing on in war on every side, coursing the rich soil in mortal blood, and yet neither side had defined its principles or taken stand for righteousness' sake, but went on in fearful destruction, laying in death tens of thousands and laying in death tens of thousands and tens of thousands. Jehovah said, send thou thy Parsian and Ogosian angels down to these mortals, and by inspiration and by dreams and by vision. And thy angels shall say to them, whoso professeth the earth shall battle in vain, but whoso professeth righteousness in my name shall win. And millions of angels descended and tried to persuade them, but mortals would not hear. Even the chief general on Liberty's side closed his soul against Jehovah, himself enforced slavery with his mighty army. And years went on, and all the people began to perceive that without righteousness there would be no end to the war. Jehovah said, only death can reach these people or make them behold my hand. Yet thou shalt send thy angel hosts over all the north regions and inspire them to call out for liberty. Then went forth Xerxes and Leonidas with their 2,000,000,000 angels to overspread the north, to inspire mortals to a more heavenly stand, to make them see justice and liberty. And for 100 days, these angels dwelt with mortals, but many mortals were too gross to comprehend. Then Xerxes came to New York and took hence the guardian angels, those of holiness, and he left the city in the hand of Juhas. And at once the city was plunged in riots, and the people were as a mad people, wild and fearful. Again, Jehovah spake in the holy council in heaven, let my angels go once more and inspire mortals to rise to the light of my will. Again, the angels overrun the land, inspiring mortals day and night to demand freedom for the slaves. And the ambassadress of Jehovah said to her inspiring hosts of angels, number ye the mortals north and south as to their majority voice for freedom. Now when the mortals numbered, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is Chevy Anathotes. I'm probably screwing her name up. I believe this is her when it says the ambassadress spoke. I believe that's her. Don't quote me, but I'm almost certain that's her. Again, the angels overrun the land, inspiring mortals day and night to demand freedom for the slaves. And the ambassadress of Jehovah said to her inspiring host of angels, number ye the mortals north and south as to their majority voice for freedom. Now, when the gods numbered the mortals and graded them, they discovered the majority had turned to freedom's side. Jehovah said to his ambassadress, take thine own inspiring host and go down to the city of Washington to the president and hold this matter up to him that he may understand me. Hold on for a second. Okay, yeah, that's here. And this doesn't have any verses. So this would be verse 20. Jehovah said to his ambassadress in chapter 20. Hold on, wait. This is chapter, well, it's chapter 20 in the lowest edition, but this is chapter, hold on. I said 19. I screwed that all up. 19 is XIX. Wait, is it? I don't know. I ain't about to stand here and figure it out. Let's go back. We on page. Hold on. We on page 571 of this document. Hold on. Are we? Yeah, page 571 on the left-hand side towards the middle. Jehovah said to his ambassadress, take thine own inspiring host and go down to the city of Washington to the president and hold this matter up to him that he may understand me. For he is not bound in doctrines, for which reason my angels made him president. And the president will hear thee, and he shall resolve in his own mind unto freedom for the slaves. But he will seek for some external sign, fearing he may have mistaken the angels that minister unto him. But I will provide a way for this also. And the angels of Jehovah went to the president in a vision, like a dream, and they called unto him, and he answered, who art thou? And the angels said, such as come in Jehovah's name for freedom's sake. Behold, millions of his angels look down from heaven and would come to thy armies if thou wouldest but proclaim freedom to the slaves. Jehovah's hand is in this matter. The president awoke and was troubled with his dream. The next night, the angels came again and retold their words and added thereunto, the great majority of the country is ripe for this matter. Thou fearest this is but a foolish dream. Behold, we will give thee proof tomorrow. The president awoke more troubled than before, but remember the angel said, we will give thee proof tomorrow. Jehovah said, I will make this a matter of testimony to this nation, so that no man may gainsay it. And I will show also how my angels work singly and in mighty legions. Now at that time there was living in Washington a seeress through whom spirits spake by entrancement. And on the day mentioned, the angel spake through her, saying, go and bring the president into the presence of this woman. And the president was told what was said. And when the president came before the seeress, the angel of Jehovah entranced her and said unto him, and remember this seeress, this woman is Hattie Maynard. We talked about her before. They actually make reference to her here in the lowest edition, right within the footnotes and towards the back, and you can actually go look her up, and there's a whole book written about her life and her time engaging with the president. Okay. Now at that time there was living in Washington a seeress through whom spirits spake by entrancement. And on the day mentioned, the angel spake through her, saying, go and bring the president into the presence of this woman. And the president was told what was said. And when the president came before the seeress, the angel of Jehovah entranced her and said unto him, we said we would give thee proof tomorrow. Behold, we repeat unto thee, Jehovah is in this matter. Save thou proclaimest the freedom of the slaves, thou shalt not succeed. Do thou this, and the enemy's army shall melt away like snow in the sun. The president's eyes were open, and he went straightway and proclaimed freedom to the whole 4 million slaves. Xerxes said to Leonidas, thou great conqueror, thou shalt conquer me. Take thou 1,000,000,000 angels and go with the armies of the north and inspire them on to victory. Give them such strength and courage as they have not before manifested. And as for myself and my host, we will go to the armies of the south, and we will inspire them to believe they are conquered, so make them flee before thy soldiers. This pen is running. The ink burst in my hand. Hold on, y'all. Hey. Why I had ink all over my hands? Malachi, shalom, shalom. Dang. I was talking. Okay. All right. Xerxes said to Leonidas, thou great conqueror, thou shalt conquer me. Take thy 1,000,000,000 angels and go with the armies of the north and inspire them on to victory. Give them such strength and courage as they have not before manifested. And as for myself and my host, we will go to the armies of the south, and we will inspire them to believe that they are conquered, and so make them flee before thy soldiers. Thus these great angel warriors allotted themselves to the war. And behold, the northern armies ran forth over the enemy's country as if war were but play, and the southern armies vanished, disarming themselves and returning to their homes. The slaves were free. Jehovah said, let this be a testimony that this land is the place of the beginning of the Cosmon era. There shall be no caste amongst my people, caste, which are like different classes of people. There shall be no caste among my people. Behold, I went to the Israelites and said, keep yourselves as a separate people, for I had work for them, which was to travel westward and establish me, the all one. And they came westward and fulfilled my commandments. Wherefore I have blessed them. And I went to China and I said, let the followers of Chine keep themselves an exclusive people, for I have work for them, which was to establish me, the all one, and to demonstrate the most numerous people in all the world united as one people peacefully. And I blessed them. And I went to Vidu also and established a mighty people with a multiplicity of gods and languages, for I had a work for them to do, which was to preserve my revelations of some of the divisions and my heavens above, and to prove in after time things which I had revealed to the ancients. They have accomplished their work also, and I have blessed them. But in this era, I come not to an exclusive people, but to the combination of all the peoples commingled together as one people. Henceforth, my chosen shall be out of the amalgamated races who choose me, and these shall become the best, most perfect of all peoples on the earth. And they shall not consider race or color, but health and nobleness as to the mortal part, and as to the spirit, peace, love, wisdom, and good works, and one great spirit only. Leonidas said to Xerxes, y'all, that's us. I feel it. That's us, y'all. Listen. Leonidas said to Xerxes, it will be revealed long ere that we have been here with our angel host. As a testimony of this, let us allot a number of our angels to remain a season with mortals, and they shall inspire them to athletic sports peculiar to the Argosians and Parsians. To this, Xerxes consented, and they asked for 600,000 angel volunteers, and they received them and officered them and distributed them in such way that their inspiration should develop mortals in health, strength, and endurance by means of athletic games. And it came to pass that the angels of heaven established athletic games amongst this people far and near. In the next chapter, it begins chapter XIX. Jehovah's Son, was now relieved of his arduous toils over earth. And also, this is if you look all the way at the top, right, you will see that this is the book of Cosmon, but off to the side it has the cycle of S, right? And we can see that here. It's called Book of S, Daughter of Jehovah. But it's something about the way that it's titled and changed here that it it breaks up the consistency of what we would have gotten, right? The cosmo, like it says this here, right? But for some reason it didn't like click to me, at least for me, right? It may have for y'all, but to me, it just clicks a little different when I read it here and I can see Cosmon is within the cycle of S, right? We're like still in the cycle of S, but the Cosmon portion of it, if I can say that correctly, right? All right. Yeah, Elijah, this is happening from the mid 1800s to now with great success. The Creator's all light is changing everything. Yes and amen. Right? Listen, I know, Don, this is so good. Shanisha, shalom, sis. Okay. God, Jehovah's Son, was now relieved of his arduous toils over earth and her heavens, and his successor and the Lords were duly crowned. Then the chieftainess and high gods and goddesses from the Etherian heavens prepared for the marriage of Jehovah's brides and bridegrooms. And God and his lords and high officers, called in all heavenly grades, prepared for the third resurrection. And there were in all 27,000 million brides and bridegrooms. Besides these, there were in paradise to witness the ceremonies more than 30,000 million angels of Lord grades. So accordingly, the ceremonies were accomplished in the usual form, and the brides and bridegrooms were conducted into the avalanches, of which there were 11 in number. Then went the Etherian host who had brought forth the birth of Cosmon, and after them, God and his lords and high officers. In the meantime, the Essenars and trumpeters, 2,000 million, chanted and played before the host in glory to Jehovah. After that, the chieftainess gave the signal for the ascent, and with one voice the mighty host said, "Arise to thee, Jehovah, nearer, nearer to thee, thou Almighty." And the fire ship started upward, turning and rising, with more than 40,000 million angels aboard. Rose the avalanches above the pillars of fire, above the throne of God, higher and higher. And the angels rising and the angels below clapped their hands. Hold on. And the angels arising and the angels below clapped their hands and shouted in glee and exalted glory because of the overwhelming scene. Thus rose up and departed to the higher heavens those thousands of millions of worshipers of the Creator who had witnessed the birth of the Cosmine era for the angels and mortals of the red star, Earth. And that is the end of this book, which means it ended right then and there. And like a new portion, to me, that says the new portion is being written now. They gave up everything. They gave everything up to this point, right? And so now the Cosmine era, all of this is currently being written while we're acting it out, while we're living now, right? That was just so good to me. Hold on, let me see where we at. 44 minutes. All right, y'all. So I wanted to, like I said, I wanted to read the end, the last couple chapters. Then tomorrow, when we come back, I want to go back to the beginning of the book of Cosmon and read it through. Then after we do that, then go all the way back to the beginning, right? Listen, so by the time we get through the book of Cosmon all the way, my printed version should be here. This, like I said, I got so excited last night. The way this thing was laid out that it warranted a hardback copy, right? So I ordered it, and it said it'll be here by like the 13th. So, everybody, if you can't afford that, and I think it was like 20 something dollars with my Prime membership or whatever. If you don't have Prime, it might be like 30 something dollars. If you can't afford to get it, download the PDF version that we done shared. Jamil reshared the link for this. Just go to the link, and if you're looking at it from your phone, if you have Apple, right, you can download it and put it like in your books and the PDFs there, and wherever you go, it'll follow you because it'll transfer to all of your Apple products and it'll be there. If you don't have that, just download it to your laptop or to a folder, something. But if you go to the web page, if you're on your phone, you can scroll down and go to formats and choose PDF. If you're on a laptop pulling up the link, go to the right side of the page, look on the formats, go down to PDF, click download. Because when you pull it up, you can see it like it's like a movie screen, like you can hit play and it's like it's gonna play a movie, but it's not gonna play a movie, it's gonna scroll the book. Right. So, but download the PDF copy because we about to go through it. Right. As soon as my actual physical book get here, I'm gonna forego the electronic and I'm gonna go right to the book. So this is good. What y'all think? John Lant plates about 500 plates, Red Star 500 something pages, or Wasp about 1,000. Yep, this is this right here is 572? 572 pages. Well, maybe 573 because the last page is like it has the name of the publishing company and stuff. I don't know. We'll see. You know, we're gonna go through it. And also something I noticed that there are no pictures or anything in here. Right, and he may not have printed the whole book, right? From what we see, there's with some of the other stuff we got, it's possibly the full printing is possibly 4,000 pages, right? Or it was heavily added to, right? We don't know. We just gonna go through this, and then I guess once we get through everything, we can decide. So you can like follow along in your lowest edition or whatever other edition that you have to see the little changes, right? There are small little changes. Some things you just see you'll see the difference, right? You can tell that it's mostly the same stuff, but there are certain differences that we can kind of pay attention to and see. Hold on, BC. Sorry, sis, I didn't think about the time difference when I messaged you. I'm a few hours ahead. I probably didn't even see your message either because I don't know what you're talking about, BC. No harm, no foul, right? All right, y'all. Yeah, so we about to see, right? So this might be the John Land place, maybe not. I don't know, but we're gonna see. I don't know, right? Let me go to this real quick. You said it was Amazon, Jamia. Let me this little clip. Hold on. Did I type it in right? Okay, let me just close it. Amazon. Man, to the Red Star. Let me go to my purchases because I don't see it in here no more. Hold on. Okay, here. That's weird because when I search, it's not popping up. But anyway, okay. Oh, you know what? I think you're right, Jamia. Okay, listen. So let me read this. Let me give y'all this link right here. Yeah, okay. I ordered the hardcover and it was $34, $34.95. The paperback is $28. Let me share this link with y'all so y'all can see. But I'm gonna read y'all what this say. Okay, BC, I'll take a look at it shortly. Okay. That's the link for The Romance of the Red Star, a biography of the Earth. But listen to this. In the description of this, just ordered it. Yeah, I'm not sure how many they got left. So They got what? 3 new, and they got 3 new in the hardcover, and they got 4 new in the paperback. See all formats and editions. I don't know. I'm not sure if that's all they got left. All right, but listen to this. Let me go to the description. Okay, there we go. I scrolled too far. Listen. This work has been selected by scholars as being culturally important and is a part of the knowledge base of civilians as we know it. This work was reproduced from the original artifact and remains as true to the original work as possible. Therefore, you will see the original copyright references, library stamps, as most of the works have been housed in our most important libraries around the world, and other notations in the work. This work is in the public domain of the United States of America and possibly other nations. Within the United States, you may freely copy and distribute this work, as no entity, individual or corporate, has a copyright on the body of work. Listen, when I read that, I'm like, you know what? Hold on, because I gotta go back to where y'all. I can't even see y'all. When I read that, I'm like, that sounds authentic to me, right? Listen to this. This work is in the public domain in the United States of America and possibly other nations. Within the United States, you may freely copy and distribute this work, as no entity, individual or corporate, has a copyright on the body of the work. As a reproduction of a historical artifact, this work may contain missing or blurred pages, poor pictures, errant marks, etc. Scholars believe, and we concur, that this work is important enough to be preserved, reproduced, and made generally available to the public. We appreciate your support of the preservation process, and thank you for being an important part of keeping this knowledge alive and relevant. Yeah, that's why I read it at. Thank you, Jamil. But that's exactly what I was looking for earlier before we started of what we had read. That seems like that's authentic to me. So this very well could be the copy that's directly from the Lant place. Like I said, I don't know. We're going to see, and we're going to compare as we go. So with that being said, I hope y'all enjoyed that little bit today. We have 53 minutes. We're gonna pause right there on this, and we are going to, I guess, read 1 or 2 pages from the Field Guide to the Spirit World. Okay. But y'all got the links for all of this. That's the link for Amazon. Go in there and order it before you can't anymore. But if it's gone, if you too late getting it, it's always the PDF. And it looks like there's at least from what I can see, the page numbers for the printed version and what we have on the PDF, they seem to coincide. So I don't know. We are really meant to have this information. All praises to the Most High Creator. I agree, Elijah. I agree with that. I don't know. This is interesting. It's amazing. Okay. So we paused yesterday in chapter 9 in the possession chapter on page 211. So we're just going to read, like I said, probably to the end of page 214. That's about 4 pages. I'm gonna stop after this paragraph after this second bullet. No, that's just one. It's just broken up by page. I'm gonna stop after this little paragraph after this next chart of people that's about to give us. At work right now, beloved sis had a dream last night. Books flying off the shelf. Books flying off the shelf by themselves. Laugh out loud. So I'm gonna read later when I get off. That's why my book order will be in today. Peace and blessings. The same symbol is on the Owaspy paperback that I own. The symbol. Same symbol. Let me go back real quick. In the PDF. July 16th, 1901. What symbol? Hebrew. I'm looking at the back of the PDF for Romance of the Red Star. You probably not even talking about this. Hold on. You welcome, Vanette. Same symbol. Oh, same symbol. You probably talking about at the front of the book. Let me go. Cause I'm gonna have to do all that scrolling. Let me see. I'm gonna have to go back to it. My iPad's still acting crazy, and it's gonna take me forever to scroll back to the top of here. Oh wait, you talking about? Hold on. Wait, which symbol you talking about? You're not talking. Are you talking about this? This symbol? Or are you talking about like the other symbol on the book? Oh, on the book. Oh, the book and the PDF. Hold on the book, not PDF. Same symbol. Okay, my bad, homie. Okay. All right, y'all. So let's go over here to the field guide to the spirit world. Key, shalom, sis. All right, y'all. Page 211. And we pause after uh this list of 9 bullet points where it was given a description of some things that if it's going on, it could be an indication that you or somebody else might be demon possessed, right? Um, so it gave that. Matter of fact, let me just go through the list again, and then we'll pick it back up and go through this next list. And after this next list, the little paragraph after that, that's what we're gonna pause. All right, because we're already like 57 minutes. Okay. Strange laughs or guffaws, often the rat tat tat machine gun laugh. That's one. Number two, these are things that people happening with people with an indication where they might be having some unauthorized visitors inhabiting their body. Number two, inexplicable pains or physical upsets, quite often in the stomach. Three, uncontrollable temper striking out. As Annalise explained, quote, I cannot control myself. I want Peter or the girls around, but all of a sudden I throw things at them. End quote. Goodman, 1981, page 72. Number four, trance-like staring, fixity, or stubborn withdrawal accompanied by flat affect or confusion, quote, out of touch, end quote. Five, sadness, rejection, depression, negativity for which no reason can be given. Six, outbursts, viciousness, betrayals, rampages, rampages that seem out of character, chronic changing of plans. Seven, a sense of other. Tony, for example, quote, felt an alien presence reprogramming his mind, end quote. Sarchi and Collier, 2001, page 131. Number eight, frequent mishaps or accidents, as well as deliberate self harm. And number nine, rapid mood change. And so, right after that, it goes into rapid cycling. And that says, there's a lady in my garden club who never looks the same twice. I mean, every time she shows up, I whisper to my plot partner, is that Dolly? Yes, apparently so. I know it's not much to go on, but I think she has lodgers. I think she has, quote, lodgers, end quote. Sometimes even a single indicator is striking enough to put you on alert. But usually there is more. There is more. One of Dolly's personas, for instance, is quite provocative, which is very typical of multiples. She'll be wearing a low cut blouse and bending over her plants in such a way as to tantalizingly expose her fulsome chest wear. Another pose, bent in the dirt, reveals several inches of, quote, plumber's crack. Wait, what? End quote. That's going in the title today, plumber's crack. Oh, look, Romance of the Red Star and plumber's crack. What is Romance of the Red Star? It's another name for a waspy. It was hidden under another name. Oh. I was starting to connect these dots when I read about the, quote, ever-changing appearance, end quote, of a certain narcissistic sociopath, Olson, 1983. Page 72. Wait a minute. See that? See what you just did? Flip that back out. That. Now close it, because that's going to seal the refrigerator all the way. Close it. When y'all push that in, it'll stay in. Close it. Now close the other side. Can you see inside the refrigerator? Look between that crack. Now open it back up. Close that piece. Now, can you see inside the refrigerator?
I think it's a tight seal.
No, it's not, because you can see inside the refrigerator. Close it back just like that. It's dark in there because the light out, but look between that crack. You can see inside the refrigerator. That should not happen. Open it back up. Open it back up. Pull that piece back out. No. Leave that out like that, because that's what caused it to defrost at the bottom. Now pull the other side out, because you got to close that side first. Thank you. Close it. Thank you. Seal it. That's why I wasn't freezing.
But Mom, I'm trying to show you.
No, hold on 1 second, y'all. This is
because look.
Y'all, how my ice melting. Look.
All right, no.
See that? Look at that. See that? Look.
You see that?
I see that.
That's the steel
right. No. What I was showing you. Look at this. That's how it's closing. See that?
Okay, now that is wrong.
Right. But that's how we found it. And it should not be doing that. Right. It should close when that pops back out.
That's probably because like one of the kids or somebody.
Yeah, apparently. I don't know. Just make sure that's okay. All right, y'all. That's simple housekeeping. Okay, let me get back to this. Just to make sure that stays out. Yeah, when they force that close, it's magnetic. It's supposed to do what it do naturally. But when they pop that over, it doesn't. It's like they lock it over to the side. Okay. All right, y'all. Back to page 211. Another pose bent in the dirt reveals several inches of, quote, plumber's crack, end quote. I was starting to connect the dots. I was starting to connect these dots when I read about, quote, ever-changing appearance, end quote, of a certain narcissistic psychopath, Olson, 1983, page 72, and yet another whose demeanor could shift so much, even momentarily, that as one acquaintance put it, quote, he doubted that anyone would recognize the man, end quote. Adams et al., 1998, page 244. When change of persona or behavior is notably abrupt, it is called rapid cycling. Strongly diagnostic of ASC, but generally overlooked. The, quote, quick change artist, end quote, may be under the same sway of spiritual parasites like the Japanese man possessed who exhibited, quote, at top speed, a long succession of phases that came and went, one flickering after the other, end quote. Would you hurry up?
I'm so sorry. I'm intrigued here. You said somebody faces was switching?
Yeah. He was demon possessed. His face just kept changing. You done making all that noise?
It's not me. It's this stuff.
You're controlling that stuff.
It's.
Listen. Okay. Psychiatrists who, for the most part, reject the idea of spirit possession would probably label that man a schizophrenic or perhaps an extreme cyclothing. CYCLOTHYME, cyclothene. The term denoting manic depressives known for quick switches. They, quote, zigzag between highs and lows rapidly. They might bounce from euphoria to despair and back again within hours, like a race car going berserk, end quote. Some bipolars, quote, can go from high to low in about 2 seconds, end quote. Duke and Hodgman, 1992, page 35 and page 178. There's something more than the manic depression going on here. As Dr. Girdham insightfully points out, although, quote, a textbook diagnosis would be manic depressive psychosis, the split second factor indicates malign invasion, end quote. The glib textbook conclusion does not explain the, quote, knife edge speed of these appalling symptoms. An ordinary manic depressive shift requires at least months to build up. This was a case of possession, end quote. Girdham, 1982, pages 44 to 45. If it were simply bipolarism, there should be a buildup, but there is no buildup in rapid cycling, meaning the faces they're just constantly switching from altar to altar. Nor are cyclothamines, I probably said it wrong, cyclothemes as easy to medicate as ordinary bipolars. Quote, this condition, admits Gloria Hodgman, is the most difficult to treat, end quote. The patient is, quote, resistant to medication. One drug after another has been tried and has failed, end quote. Duke and Hodgman, 1992, page 36 to 37. Surely the ineffectiveness of drugs as an analysis story betrays the multiples untreatable somatics, which seem to come and go as unpredictably as do their alters. But we know this, when the switching is rapid, the headaches are worse. Spencer, 1989, page 201. With the multiple Alex, there was, quote, a rapid fluctuation between love and hate. One minute he would be asking for a hug, and the next he would be calling me names, end quote. C. Smith, 1998, page 116. And with Trudy's troops constantly vying for, quote, the spot, end quote, she was simply, quote, unaware of things discussed even moments before, end quote. Chase, 1987, page 147. It's the same with Sybil when she would return from the void, quote, all at once, end quote. She didn't know where she was or what had happened. Schreiber, 1973, page 92. And when Cam West, who had 24 altars, walked into a convenience store with a sudden thirst for a soft drink, quote, I couldn't remember what I'd come in for, end quote. He was, at the time, on his way to a multiples support group meeting. When he finally got there, someone named Sarah was speaking. Then, quote, a heartbeat later, Sarah's face went blank, end quote. And the next thing you knew, an alternate named Margie took the spot. After Margie spoke for a minute or two, quote, then click, the channel changed, and she was gone, and Sarah was back, end quote. Cam, who went on to write a PhD thesis on MPD and a book, First Person Plural, that's the name of the book, First Person Plural, recalled that his, quote, switching was rapid and out of control, like free falling into the angry engine of madness, end quote. His insights help us to understand the ever-changing and therefore hard to medicate somatics of the multiple personality. His own, quote, alters coming out in rapid succession, each with his or her own pain, end quote. West, 1999, pages 144, 158, 152, and 162. Rapid cycling is so typical of overshadowing that we encounter it in everything from MPD, which is multiple personality disorder, to bipolarism, to frank possession. And if we explore the domain of the psychopath, the echo is resounding. Once again, the dissociative deviant criminal mind leads the way in sheer volume of documented cases. Let us summarize. And here is this next list of these cases, which go on to the next page. And that paragraph after this is where we're going to pause. John Wayne Gacy, quote, contradicted himself from one sentence to the next, end quote. Morrison, 2004, page 110. On a few occasions, right in the middle of the crime, vicious assault There was a sudden, quote, softening, end quote, and he let his victim go, apologizing profusely. Besides Gacy, other offenders are known to have stopped mid-crime and freed their terrified victims. The next person, Arthur Shawcross.
So it's not
Hmm?
the mind of a psychopath. That is still a mystery.
Yeah. Arthur Shawcross could go, quote, from quiet to violent in a split second, end quote. Conversely, quote, the raging bull turns into a choir boy, end quote. Olson, 1992, page 60 and page 408. The next one, Dean Coral was given to, quote, startling changes of mood, end quote. The next person, Marie No, when asked an innocuous question, quote, became animated as if a switch had suddenly been turned on in her head, end quote. Glatt, 2002, page 132. The next person is John Kapler. In a stressful situation, as recounted by his son, would change his, quote, demeanor dramatically. I saw him start to shake and shake. He leaped up and attacked me. I had to really fight him off. I put a boot heel in his solar plexus, but he kept coming. Hyperpraxia. He made a lot of vulgar references, corporelia. Father would fall in and out of himself. He'd be dad, and then all of a sudden he'd be this dirty, snivelly roach. End quote. Abloh, 1994, page 16. The next person, Diane Downs, was known for her mercurial emotional swings. The next one, Paul Keller, on the slightest provocation, would fly into a rage with verbal abuse directed at anyone who happened to be near. Quote, then just as quickly, he could shift emotional gears and become utterly charming. End quote. Douglas and O'Shaker, 1999, page 60.
I wonder.
The next person.
This has something to relate. Sorry for cutting you off. If one of those people were to do that, and let's just say they just mess with a person that we call, I have to censor this, mess around, find out type person, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they decide, I'm gonna do a switch or a demon, whatever you want to call it. Say,
well, they're not constantly. They're not consciously thinking about doing a switch.
Yeah. I know that, but I'm just saying it would be funny. The demon thing, yeah, I'm gonna yell at this person right here, and then come to find out, he messed around and found out and got whooped.
Well, that happens a lot. That happens a lot because people be messing around and they get the right one. We call, and not necessarily it's the right one, but somebody that has these issues going on being overshadowed, and they get their tail to off because they didn't realize that this person was dealing with something that they didn't really know how to control. Yeah. As in religious altars. I must have missed something. 24 altars. Yeah. That a whole classroom. Imagine that. And that's some of the smaller cases. There was somebody, remember that person they talked about that had like 400 altars? I was like, okay, so who sat here and counted them, right? Like, how long did you have to sit there and talk to them for all 400 plus people to shift and take place? Like, let me see these list of names. Like, what did they do? Where did they come from? Like, that's crazy. Yeah, other altars. These are other spirits that are inhabiting these people's body. They've opened themselves up one way or another, or something's happened to them early on in their life, or even later on in their life. But it's opened them to being invaded by other spirits, and they've been put in a sunken place. They just there, just riding around in the back seat of their own body. Nava Shalom, sis. So the next person, Diane Downs, was known for her mercurial emotional swings. You have Paul Keller, on the slightest provocation would fly into a rage with verbal abuse directed at anyone who happened to be near. Quote, then just as quickly he could shift emotional gears and become utterly charming, end quote. Douglas and O'Shaker, 1999, page 60. Then you have R.L. Yates' wife would see him go into a room and come out, quote, a totally whole different person, end quote. Bear 2002, page 245. The next person, Peter Sutcliffe, quote, would lurch from tact to nerd taxiternity to overexcitement. Burn 1985 to six to Burn 1985, page 62. Arthur Jackson could be lucid one moment and bizarre the next. Then you have Gladys would come back and forth between, yeah, I'm gonna kiss you.
We just argued, so another thing.
I'm gonna still kiss you. I don't care how mad you get with me.
I'm not mad.
Okay.
I'm mad. Stop that. Are you kissing me?
Yes. That's you to be half kissing me when you feel some type of way.
Be an elephant in the room. We got to talk about elephants.
I agree.
They're big enough to see.
I agree.
Same things you got to talk about.
All right.
I want to overlook that. Well, anyway.
What you looking for?
I'm trying to find you somewhere, but I can't get you nowhere.
I'm not done. I got a couple more sentences to read.
You.
I got a couple more sentences to read.
I gotta go to work.
It ain't like I don't know where you're gonna be at.
That's good. That's good to know.
Let me finish.
That's good that you do know.
Hey, girl, hey. All right, y'all. Gladys would bounce back and forth between despair and grandiose self-confidence. Blinder, 1985, page 91. Then you have Ted Bundy, Joel Rifkin, Fred Cole, and quite a few other notorious maniacs have been labeled chameleons for their ever-changing appearance and moods. And that is the end of this list. And so this paragraph that's following it is where we're going to pause at. Richard Masek's, quote, outburst came completely out of the blue, end quote, wrote forensic psychiatrist Helen Morrison after an interview in which he, a supposedly, quote, affable prisoner, end quote, made a sudden threatening gesture. Quote, we were stunned, Morrison recalls, chalking the incident up to a mere aberration, end quote. Morrison, 2004, page 25. Her naive assessment only betrays the ignorance or collusion of court psychiatrists, hired guns, trotted out by persecutors to prove the deliberate viciousness of the accused. The question of responsibility versus not guilty by reason of insanity is a can of wriggling worms we will not open. Nevertheless, we cannot help but notice Morrison's inappropriate surprise and her failure to spot the rapid cycling of her subject. Avoiding it, of course, means steering clear of questions of self-control. Was the criminal really in control of himself, of his actions? Maybe not. Maybe we need to make a deeper study of psyche's autonomous forays into terra incognita. Quote, something of fearful power exists in a dimension beyond the material realm, end quote. Dave Hunt and T.A. McMahon, The New Spirituality. And that, my beautiful people, is where we are going to pause at today. All right, so let me put this here, my page number. All right, y'all. So I hope y'all enjoyed the reading today. Tomorrow, when we start back, we're going to go to the beginning of the last book in Romance of the Red Star, the book of Cosmont. We're going to read that all the way through, and then we're going to go all the way to the beginning and read, which begins with, it's the book of Jehovah. Yeah, I think it was the book of Jehovah. It just says Jehovah, I think. Hold on. We had to do all this scrolling. Hold on. Yep. It is. Yeah, the Book of Jehovah. Okay. All right, beautiful people. So that is it. It is Tuesday, January the 3rd, 2023. Day. Hold on. Because I'm moving my little notes around. I ain't opened up my new book yet. Hold on. It is day 304 of year 4 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets. Another 4-year consecutive day count, day 1,324. Like I said, we read the last couple chapters of the book of Cosmine and the romance of the Red Star. And then we read a little bit more of chapter 9, the chapter entitled Possession, from pages 210 to 214. All right, son. All right, love it. Go ahead and get out of here so you're going to be late. All right. So with that being said, beautiful people, download the PDF while we go through it. Order you a copy if you can. It's really interesting, some of the stuff that I've been seeing through it, but we're going to go through it line by line. All right, beautiful people, that's it. I love y'all. See y'all back here tomorrow morning, bright and early, 6:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Peace. Say la. Shalom, brother. I just seen you. Book of Cosma has Book of Lika in it. I'm gonna have to scroll through. I'm glad you're enjoying them. All right, y'all. We out of here. I'll scroll back through the comments to see if I missed somebody's question or something. If so, I'll address it tomorrow. All right, y'all. I'm out. Peace.